Okay. I've been back home now for about 48 hours and I haven't had a chance to touch base. I had that doctor appointment I talked about today, and I've got to go back tomorrow. Um, I don't know if I've ever discussed my uh, physical journey, but part of that is I have like osteoporosis in my hips and degenerating disc and all those goodies. But in the course of the years that have followed, I was one of the early fibromyalgia diagnoses when and before they even recognized it. And um, I ended up, they prescribed Lyrica to me and I didn't like it. But Lyrica, once that was on the map, it also became fibromyalgia did too. Um, I guess for me, as the years have went by, and there are some levels of pain that you learn to take better than others. So, with that being said, I'm back from New Mexico. Um, I'll probably do more outside because I'm trying to be more active than I have been. I think I've talked about my depression, and it's definitely hereditary. And then some of it also when you are someone who struggles with, or, I mean, it could be anything. I'm not going to just signify it just to physical pain, but it can be things that we've brought with us and haven't dealt with. And, you know, it's a journey. Life is a journey, and it's a choice. And those choices I make is each day I wake up, I try to do something different. But I haven't done any catch up. I've been showing the trip and the inevitable. Um, I don't know if I'll be moving there. That will. It's an inherited home that my aunt currently lives in. She will be coming here to our state here in Texas. She has her brother and family, and also us. So, with that being said, inevitably, that is something that I will be dealing with. When I want to say dealing with, I just don't like to. I'm still uncomfortable with the fact that I'm inheriting something. That it's um, several of my I had two uncles, my mother's brothers. They never were on disability. They were both born in the early 1940s, and one is an artist, was an artist, excuse me. A lot of the paintings you've seen are his. He made a living with that. And then my other uncle, who was married to the aunt I'm currently mentioning, they were married for almost 50 years, and he passed away 3 years ago. So, in the course of that, we want to get her closer to us. Um, I love her with all my heart, and I look forward to that. The home itself, just a lot of work to be done, and so I kind of introduced it because in the future there will be some grandsons. Um, my adult children, I say adult, but they're one of them's grandparents, so that makes me a great grandparent, and I absolutely love that. But there'll be several, and of course I'll get the permission. I'm not going to be sneaky. And then y'all have met my wife of 30 years. We raised those children. Um, their father chose to move to Nigeria, and I really don't have nothing good to say about him at all. So my wife and I um, solidified our marriage legally at 25 years. And that's really for legal purposes only. That's basically what marriage is when it comes to paperwork. You can do the same with your higher power, whatever your choices are. But, you know, I don't want to be negative, but I will be real, and I will. Um, like I said, not hesitate when it comes to how our children were raised. He made a choice to stay there, including when his parents passed away. Um, I just can't go there. I saw how it affected our children, regardless. And, people use a lot of terms today that, like narcissism or PTSD, and they have to have a lot of labels, and I respect that too. I'm just saying, for me, um, before there were these labels put out, I mean, you got gaslighting. Who doesn't say that? Who isn't saying narcissism? And who isn't saying PTSD? So for me, there are those who have not, oh, I almost said the word, I almost said glamorized, but I feel like it has become way too much. Learn some other words, people. Get a diagnosis before you diagnose yourself. Don't Google it and don't look it up. There are those who have lived these lives. I was raised by somebody who was clearly those without emotion or feeling, or, married into it, divorced it. I could go on and on, because it becomes part of your habit. You get drawn to the same thing over and over until you start making a choice, and that's choice. Let me say this. That is my chosen. That is a different thing every day. Pick something, work on it. Don't make excuses. I have, and I have worked really hard. And I'll tell my life story. Part of this, like I said in the beginning, it's been years now, is for my kids, for my grandkids, for those, I lost my parents. I lost my mom when I was young, and I have very few pictures, let alone this type of communication, this type of being able to say, that's my mom, or that's my grandma, or whatever. And then I choose also, with my wife's permission, to throw her in there once in a while, and, just what we do, just who we are. And I feel like whoever you are out there, do that. If you want to keep it personal and private, do so. But put yourself there. Don't be afraid of who you are and what you want to line up for, when we're no longer here and they have something to go to. Because the one thing I'll say, and it's getting close, not yet, but the one thing I want to say is, when it comes to my children, I couldn't be more proud. I love them to my core, to my being. I absolutely, if they weren't my children, I'd still want them in my life. They're wonderful people. They're good friends. They're loyal. They're humble. And they're not perfect at all. And none of us are. When it comes to my grandchildren, my cup runneth over. My cup runneth over. Most of the first 6 are 18 and up. The oldest has his own child now, and they've just grown so much, and they have their own lives. And don't any of you ever think for 1 minute, ever think for 1 minute that your me doesn't adore you. I'm here 24/7, anything you need. But I also very much understand that you've got lives, you've got partners, you live in it, you're supposed to be. I have one that's currently serving in the Marines, and I get concerned, and I just want to say that you get a little extra bump from me. I think of you every day, and I love you very much, and I worry, of course. Now, when it comes to the latter 2, I have 8 grandchildren. They are younger, and y'all are just knocking it out. You're great in school. You're good people. You're good kids. Help your parents out a little bit more. Time goes by pretty fast, kids. So, with that said, I'll get back to you tomorrow. I'm going to try to do more. And just know to be kind to each other. Love one another. And be thankful to wake up every day. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. Ready? Peace.